This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without prejudice. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
I think we are live. Welcome to another purge of the BS. It is a Saturday night and I have a lot to unpack. So today, I bring to the panel two very special folks just to help me out with this purge here. I'm bringing on Genesis and I'm bringing on my man Fats, the chairman. So would you guys please join me in another purge of the BS? Please! Say something so the people can.
What up, y'all?
Okay, all right, now here we go. Fats, where you at, baby?
What up, world?
Okay, all right. We got the whole East Coast representing tonight. We are gonna have a good time. We got a couple of things we need to cover, but first, if you're new to the show, make sure that you like, subscribe, you know all the good stuff. Hit the notifications and make sure that you come back for each and everything that we drop on this wonderful channel. So, guys, I'm not going to take too much time. It's Saturday. I know it's not just my Saturday. It's other people's Saturday. And I got a couple of things we got to cover. Now, we're going to get into some politics, as usual, towards the end. But before we get into that, there's been some debaucherous stories that must be purged on Purge. You guys are okay with that. I would like to get. Is that all right?
Let's get into it.
All right. Okay. You know what? Before I get into it, not everybody knows my special guests. I know y'all. But, Jen, can you give them your information really quickly? Get started. And then Fats as well.
Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Jen, a.k.a. Baby Purge, in the building. You know, we're back at it again for a third time. Third time's a charm. So I'm so excited to be back on the pod. You guys can find me on Insta at Jen Hayes. So that's GenHayes. You can also find me on TikTok at Jen Hayes 2. So that's the number 2. So GenHayes number 2. And I'm on there. I'm doing my fashion thing. I'm doing the modeling thing. I've been on billboards. I've been on magazines. I could give y'all the whole spiel, but we'll be here all day. But yes, again, I'm excited to be here and offer y'all a fresh perspective.
All right. All right. And Fats as well?
Yeah. Fat Daddy Don. You know what I mean? fast, they call me Big Head, you know what I'm saying? Been in the music game for a while, Big Body Records. I have a serious affinity for music, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm well known for music and for being all around good guy, mentor, you know what I mean, to a lot of young men in the city, you know what I mean? I've done my part in helping change the trajectory of some of these young men's lives.
All right. OG.
Right.
OG.
And so, yeah. And, I didn't abuse my position, you know what I mean?
Got you.
So that's all, you know what I mean? I'm just, and I'm always tackling the tough subjects and trying to turn the light on for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of folks haven't seen your stuff that you put on Facebook. I have. I like a lot of the content and the questions you put up. They're very introspective. I appreciate it. Sometimes we don't get a lot of eyes on stuff, but just know I see it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
And I did try to play the song Numb that you had, I saw was released, but they hit me with a copyright strike. So, we'll have to come back to that one. But nonetheless, that's good, though. At least they're identifying if your music is being used and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what's up. So we're going to get into our debaucherousness of the evening as we, you guys aren't going to believe this one, but somebody got unalived over a mayonnaise packet.
Really?
Yeah, and I think we need to talk about it because it's unfortunately some of those people that we're trying to talk to. that you're talking about. So I'm going to bring this clip on over for you. Hold on a second.
Some new detail.
Bear with me a second. I got to do the transition.
All right.
Got you. All right, let's see what we got here. So you guys can see the screen here with the lady in the dress or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. So the story is, as I said, somebody got unalived over a mayonnaise packet. So let's check the
Details
story out.
about a deadly shooting at a Checkers restaurant in Kissimmee. A worker allegedly shot a customer after he complained about his order.
Yeah, the victim asked to speak to a manager just before he was shot. Fox 35's Stephanie Buffamonte is live at that restaurant with the latest. So, Stephanie, that suspect was in court today.
Yes, and those new shocking details were released today. According to a witness, this could have potentially been over a packet of mayo. Now, one person is behind bars and another person is dead. And this happened in a busy area, as you can see, right in Old Town, which is near Fun Spot.
The defendant will be held pursuant to Arthur at no bond.
23-year-old Elijah Mackey in an orange jumpsuit and cuffs, making a first appearance in court Friday. He's charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Osceola County deputies say it was all over a fast food customer complaining about his meal. A witness said he was possibly asking for mayo packets. The arrest affidavit says Wesley Robertson asked to speak with the manager several times after ordering from the front window at Checkers Wednesday night. Deputies say that's when Mackey climbed out of a drive-through window, walked around the side of the building, and started arguing with Robertson. According to an arrest report, that's when Robertson used derogatory language to insult Mackey, and in response, Mackey pulled a gun out of his waistband and shot Robertson in the chest. He fell headfirst into the building. The employee ran toward the Slingshot ride and then to Celebration Suites nearby. We spoke with people staying there.
Now, just so we get the gist of the story here, apparently the guy wanted mayonnaise, and then somehow that escalated to a shooting. And I'm just wondering.
It's not just mayonnaise. Ain't no way. He said something.
He said something,
and we
right?
know what he said.
Yep. He said, "Nigga, give me some mayonnaise."
Exactly.
That's what he said. And now here's the thing. You know, I would feel a certain type of way about people being armed at work, but it is a Checkers. Checkers is kind of like a box for robbery. So,
right.
Yeah, I can see why you might be. I don't know. This is in a predominantly non-melanated area. It's a tourist area where this happened. So that was kind of where the surprise is. But they're going to talk to some Caucasians here. I just think it's funny that the headline says Mayo caused deadly fast food shooting. Like we're talking about Mayo from, what was that Will Ferrell movie? Was it Get Hard? Where he was supposed to be Mayo as, whatever. Y'all might have seen it. So anyway, let me finish the clip.
Imagine you're just like, oh, let's go to Checkers. I want, a hamburger meal or whatever it is. And next thing you know, you're gone. I mean, how does that happen? It's sad. It's really sad.
You don't know if you can ever voice your opinion, because somebody's going to
opinion?
Former Orlando Police Chief Orlando
Your opinion on what? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
This individual will have their day in court, but based on the information that we have seen so far, it'll be very, very difficult for them to defend their actions. And it's unfortunate because it could have been avoided.
He says it's important to talk to your kids about controlling their emotions. And
you know how they do. I'm the manager. Wow. Okay, well,
by example.
It takes a much bigger person to basically step away from a situation like that. Be that person. Don't allow for someone to bring you down or take you on a path that you will regret later.
Now, the Checkers was closed yesterday. It is open right now. We reached out to Checkers for a comment, but haven't heard back.
No shit. Okay. All right, well, I guess the discussion here is going to go along the lines of conflict resolution. What do you think this guy had to say to the Checkers worker? Because they get disrespected all the time. So you should be used to it. Shouldn't have set him off like that.
That probably wasn't their first run-in.
I don't know. Like, it's just, there's a lot to it for me because I'm saying you're armed at work. So you came straight out to wish a nigga woods. And you just hoping for somebody to say or do something to test that And it just seems like maybe he was just already high strung, and this guy probably said, "Nigga, give me some mayonnaise," and he didn't take it well.
Well, my question is, how long he been working there?
Does it matter?
Yes, because if he was armed the entire time, he couldn't have been tried that one time and then that was the time. Like, I feel like this man was a regular and he always come there and maybe they had some exchanges or something like that.
Well,
and then it just led up to this.
It could have been, but let me just be honest. I'm familiar with the area in which this Checkers is in, and it's in Florida. Probably hot as hell in there. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
It's a hostile work environment, in my opinion.
I mean, I passed out at the Checkers because it was
See?
it was overheated because the stove is in the front. Like,
Right.
why did y'all put the stove near the pickup window?
And then they wonder why people are crashing out. It's a hostile work environment. Hostile. So, like I said, I'm sure more will come out later where we'll find
Felix,
out
what
that
you
this
think about
guy's-
all this?
Yeah, I want to know what the chairman has to say about this young man crashing out over me.
Well, first and foremost, we know that all of Florida is crazy. We know that first and foremost, right?
Everyone?
Everybody in Florida is crazy.
Okay.
You got to be crazy to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that so?
Have you been initiated yet? You know what I mean? You had to exercise some of your craziness yet, being there?
Not really. I stay away from the locals on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what.
Well, you should be an anomaly to that statistic.
But yeah, you do have a point though. People in Florida are a little crazy.
Yeah, man. But and just overall, people's lack of self-control, period, these days is really like mind-blowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that guy probably had some threats. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is dealing with folk now. It goes straight to the threats if people don't get automatic compliance. You know what I'm saying? If you're not, you know what I mean? So he probably threatened that he was going to harm him. You know what I mean?
But now we'll never know because he gone.
Yeah, well, somebody knows. There was a video camera.
There's got to be a
something.
camera somewhere.
Yeah, something.
Absolutely.
So somebody
That
knows.
camera probably ain't got no audio though, because Checkers is a mess.
And I will say this, the guy didn't seem to have much remorse at all. Like the one that was locked up, he seemed like he was totally cool.
He's standing on business.
Yeah, he was definitely standing on business on it. He was not crying or weeping or looking upset. So
Where'd they get the mayonnaise part from?
That's the part I'm wondering. Who told them it was over mayonnaise? Like, how'd they get that story? If one guy's gone, did they get it from him? And he was like, man, he asked me for some mayonnaise. Like, I don't know.
Now, did this happen at night or in the daytime, did they say?
Honestly, I might have missed it in the story. I feel like it was an evening kind of thing.
But it's not a one-on-one thing, right? There's other workers, employees, right? Some other witnesses, maybe
Somebody.
customers.
All I know is y'all got too much going on because I'm looking at this headline and underneath it, it's a bank robbery and a bomb threat. So I'm trying to figure out what y'all got going in Kissimmee.
This is pretty. Is this a recent one? Yeah, this is like a week old. So this just happened. Well, stuff be happening. Stuff be happening in Florida. Let's just be honest. They recently, I don't know if you saw this story, but I want to say yesterday, they raided a work site and took like 100 illegals off the site. It was on a campus at Florida State. And they were supposed to be building like a new wing or something in Florida State, and they took the whole construction crew. So, yeah, they've been pretty hard on the migrants in Florida lately. I don't know if there's just an uptick in this thing, but they've been raiding the construction sites every week. So, there's some job openings for those who look at
They say Trump's serious about putting Americans back to work, ain't he?
Yeah, he says you better get off your ass and come do these jobs, or we can't complain.
You're gonna have to, the way the economy is going. You can't, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to get in, somewhere. You know what I mean?
You are 100% correct, and that's why I wanted to bring you to our next story here, which has to do with a young lady doing a little bit too much at work. So she had a job, and I said had, you'll see, and because of some of her behavior and being excited, she got released from that job, and people are going up in arms saying that she shouldn't have been fired. So I wanted to bring this to y'all. Get your thoughts on it. Okay, so this one came as a headline called "Twerk While You Work," is where it came from. So apparently, this lady
cost her dream job.
Okay,
I didn't think that.
She was twerking.
You know, being so
I
happy
remember this.
could turn into something like this. Nell
I feel
Diallo
like
was
something
having
like this
a
will
great
happen to
time
me.
dancing and twerking in the aisle on an empty plane before an early morning flight. So
I don't know.
decided to
I'm
just
all right
take
with booking
advantage of
this
the moment
flight.
to wake myself up and kind of get myself prepared for my day, basically. She posted the video on TikTok along with the caption, "What's wrong with a little twerk before work?" But after the video went viral, she says Alaska Airlines fired her. What did they say to you? They just said that I broke their social media policy. Nell had only been on the job for 6 months. She says she was twerking to celebrate the end of her probationary period. Why did you decide to post the video? And I was really proud
now
of
you're back on
myself that
probation.
Yeah.
I came so far. I just didn't think that my video and my post and the way I was dancing would be deemed as inappropriate.
So how did you feel in that meeting when they told you you lost your job?
I put on such a proud face every time I stepped on that plane. And for them to terminate me without giving me a chance.
A chance to what? Before, okay. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, do you think that the woman should have been fired for the video that you guys saw? Which was her doing this little movement. It wasn't even a full-blown twerk.
That's what I'm saying.
In my
'Cause
opinion.
If somebody lighter than her was to do that little joint and it's like on a TikTok ad or something, they would have thought nothing of it.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's weird having my daughter on here while I'm watching this, but I'm just saying.
She ain't doing the most.
It's like one, two bounce, and then that's it. Come on, man. That's not even a real twerk. That's like a half a cheek twerk. So
Right.
I don't know. Alaska Airlines might be a little more strict than some other airlines. I'm pretty sure if she worked for Spirit, this wouldn't be a problem.
Well, you saw she made other videos. The problem is that she danced. Spirit definitely don't
Spirit
care.
would have used it as a commercial.
Exactly.
They'd be like, look how happy our employees are. So, all right, I just wanted to see, like I said, I had the question because I was feeling that she shouldn't have been fired over this.
They should have put her back on probation.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Hey, no twerking for 90 days or whatever the statute is for twerking. I don't know. I mean, but personally, as a consumer who flies often, this would be a good advertisement for me. That's all I'm saying.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Not trying to be nasty. I'm a little older now. I don't have to touch, but I'm just saying if that was the flight attendant on my flight and she happened to do that little bounce on her way to bringing the drinks over, I wouldn't be upset. That's all I'm saying. I think we should adopt this a little more. Twerking's everywhere. They're doing it everywhere. Why can't we have it on the plane?
It's a bit inappropriate. I have to agree.
She about to get a better job on private joint.
From the business side, it's a bit appropriate. Depends on how But she posted it, yeah.
Yeah, on TikTok.
Yeah, she took a chance and she crapped out, man.
Yeah, well, TikTok is getting a lot of people fired these days. Like TikTok,
Because things go viral and you don't expect them to. You see how she made other videos of her showing her full outfit, showing her behind, whatever.
Right.
But it's because she was on the plane. That was the issue.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Not even the uniform was the problem. The plane itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks like you're not taking your job seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm just almost.
I took her job very seriously. I took her job very seriously. I think she was very excited, and we should allow for celebration.
I'm telling you, she
on
on the
Alaska
news. They about to hire her somewhere else, a better airline. Watch.
Frontier is probably already called.
No.
Okay, they've already called because Frontier people don't look that good. So
Frontier wants her to manage their social media. They're like, wait, can you manage our
Can you
TikTok?
help us out?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, as long as I'm not the only one that felt it might have been a bit extreme from what I saw. I didn't see another video that was like longer, but that little clip, it was like, But they probably were looking for a way to fire her.
That's what I say. If upper management was, of course, male, and she wasn't putting out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. One of those hostile work environments we're talking about.
Yeah, man.
And somebody reported her and said, I seen her on TikTok doing XYZ. Oh, for real? That goes against the policy. Gotta go.
You don't think they follow her?
I'm sure they do.
Don't jobs now check your they run your email address and they check your social media and see what you're up to.
Yep. That is a good point. Hey, Jen, I had a question for you because there's been a talk about black women losing a bunch of jobs recently. Have you been affected by that at all?
I don't even know if they know I'm black.
Have they seen you?
Well, this is the thing. I look Hispanic sometimes. Like, look, I got on fake hair right now. Like, I'm being so serious. They don't know what I am.
Okay.
They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening.
Are you?
They know I'm some type of something.
You're transracial now? Are you a
No,
Latina?
but until they literally see me, like they're like, "Oh, okay, this is a person of color." But I've seen people look surprised when they see me come on camera because I work remote now. So it's like my manager didn't know what I look like.
I guess that's a good thing. That means that you were so professional they couldn't, slice it down the middle and say, "Oh, she's this." That's cool.
But I will say majority of my team is black women who sound very eloquent. We only have a few people that are Caucasian on our team. So
and
I mean,
so
but that's
y'all didn't
because
lose jobs.
there's that rumor that black women work on the phone, and it's because we have soothing voices. It's because we know how to calm people down. We know how to problem solve.
Hold up, which black women are you talking about now?
There is a stigma about black women.
Soothing
No, I'm
voices.
serious.
Okay.
This is a serious thing.
I see.
That most black women work over the phone in some capacity, whether it be meetings, whether it be some type of communication, because we know how to calm people down. So you always go to the receptionist, it's usually a black woman.
But that is true. But I have to disagree a little bit. Just a little bit. When I get
depending on the profession.
Yeah, most times that's not the soothing ones. I'm just gonna say it. That's not the ones that are there to
But for
soothe.
whatever reason, they put us right in the front every time.
Because they want you to take all the shots. When somebody gets upset, it's your fault. So yeah, they put you up front to be on the front lines like that. But I not you, because I know your education. I was around for it. But some women of the melanated faith are not the most soothing people to talk to when you're having an issue and you call a place.
They make it more of a problem. Yes, I understand that.
I got a whole story about something that happened recently with that, and I'm trying to give people instruction, and the lady was acting like I was personally attacking her. I was like, "No, I need y'all to do X, Y, Z." Well, I don't see why you talking to me like that. Look, do what I'm asking you to do, because that's your job. Don't be mad at me for asking you to do it. But not you, Jen. I'm just saying, I didn't know that the stigma was that you guys were soothing.
Now let me say this, but who are the owners of the companies, though? They don't look like us, right?
That's true.
So they're the ones that are making the selection, and we don't talk to them like that.
So they think that it's soothing.
Right.
Oh, okay. Soothing to other melanated people, I would assume, right?
They're like, oh, they know how to talk to them.
Okay, they know the language. They speak street or whatever it is. They speak Ebonics.
And I work in DC, so like they know. They're like, oh, okay, so she knows how to figure this out.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
That's not all bad.
That's actually not a bad thing at all.
Yeah,
I wouldn't agree, but at the same time, I think that there are some people in other situations where it's we are still the minority. And then that does become an issue of like, okay, who do we got to get rid of? And it's going to end up being somebody that look like me at the end of the day.
Last hired, first fired. That's what we're talking about. Wow. Okay. Well, that was a weirdly uncomfortable conversation. That was. I didn't know I was going to go down that street. So let me get back on track here. Okay. Whew. All right. Oh wow. We're just going to right into it. So it's going to be one of those episodes. That's all I'm going to say. So you guys are just going to have to tolerate this. So this stuff gets sent to me as reaction content, right? And apparently there is a young lady and her mama gets accused of stealing and the young lady has a reaction to it, and the internet is abuzz regarding the reaction as to whether it should be acceptable or not. So I'm going to let y'all see it, and then we're going to go from there, okay? Because this is, I don't know. I'm going to let y'all see. I'm sorry. It's a lot for me, considering the conversation we just had about these soothing voices.
A gray top, and she had a Zara bag. The CV gave a description of a female black with long braids with the white. I think he went back to the.
All right, well, hold on. That's not the description of her. She said a female black with long braids. So unless she took some hair off, there's something not right with that description match that they're talking about.
The daughter's so upset.
Well, the daughter is upset. But let's see where this goes. Because right now they got a bad description, but I don't know if they're talking about her.
Mommy, I know who it was. What classes did I steal?
Stop recording it now! You should not be recording it without our permission.
For my safety, thank you.
My eyes, no glasses. It wasn't her. Do she have a fucking white T-shirt on? No.
No.
Let's go.
Why is she wearing this?
Mm-hmm. This is so soothing.
You know,
Hold on, she said she get ready to kill somebody.
Yes.
First of all, come on
I'm
now.
sorry. I blame her dad. I'm sorry. The mom seems calm to me.
Hold on a second. How you gonna blame the dad?
You know that's daddy's little girl. You could just tell by the way she acted. Come on now.
I don't know.
She said somebody got to stick up for her.
Oh. I wasn't expecting this one. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know.
Honestly, I crash out like that too. I'm not even gonna hold you. And I wasn't even the type to do all that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, you know, I know your dad, by the way. And I know you and your dad were close, especially when you were around that age. And yeah, he wouldn't have had you doing that. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm just imagining if my mom was getting accused of something crazy like that, like, bro, I would probably crash out.
Okay.
I would.
Well, let's.
You're a kid. You don't know what these people are doing. You just think cops, they're going to, arrest your mom. You see people getting shot on the news. I'm going to crash out, me personally, because I know she didn't do it.
Well, here's the other thing. I feel like the mother should be trying to calm the child down.
She knows she can't because the child don't understand.
Well, you got to make them understand. Because you never know, the police could be like, I felt threatened, and then they body slam the baby on his neck. And we can't have that. So you got to calm the child down.
Nobody's worried about the child. She's over in the corner about to crash on some other people.
She's wilding out.
She probably does this normally. Like, she's not worried about her. Like, she's like, all right.
I want peanut butter and jelly right now.
No, but these kids are bad. She should not be cursing like that.
All right, well, let's see where it goes. Maybe it calms down. I don't know.
I'm
not gonna run off because I know I
leave me alone.
Listen.
Bro, my mother get arrested, bro. I swear to God, bro. I'm gonna punch somebody in the face, bro. Leave me alone. Go somewhere.
So y'all let her walk off?
No, they got to walk off. You guys are together.
Yeah, but time out. What do I have to do?
Time out is crazy.
And don't.
Oh my God, bro.
She is over it. All right, so what I just gathered was apparently there was another person with them, and that's who stole them.
Okay.
So she's sort of an accomplice. Maybe she might not have known what was going on, but she was with the person that they're looking for. So that's what started this interaction. So.
Where's the glasses at?
Y'all got me messed up in my soul, bro.
Calm down.
No, she had to get some water. She had to get some water.
Calm down.
You telling her to calm down?
You need to calm down. Now, what does suck is that I don't know who's coming to pick that kid up.
Yo, that's crazy, yo.
Yo, I really got my mother in handcuffs right now.
Oh, now I'm feeling bad.
What did she do? She didn't do nothing. Please stop. Please stop. Me or her.
I wonder where she gets these mannerisms from. You blame the dad, huh, Jen?
I definitely do, because it's not the mom. Somebody got arrested already before. Had to.
Where are y'all gonna take this child? That's what I'm worried about right now.
Yeah,
y'all
what's
get
going
ready
on?
I don't know, but they're taking the mama.
See, they need to do an extended cut of these reels, like what happens next, because we never know.
Oh, is she praying to Jesus?
Dude, listen. Mommy's asking you to calm down. Please calm down.
Oh, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad.
You can kiss mom. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bro, I would crash out.
Yes, all right. I feel kind of sad now. I kind of feel. All right, I feel bad about it now. I didn't feel bad at first.
Because then she got to get left with these people.
But
like,
then I found out that the woman didn't actually steal anything, but she was with a person who apparently stole something. But they didn't find
so she about to get interrogated.
Yeah. But she's literally going to jail because somebody else stole something. Because they searched her bag. She didn't have anything. So I feel bad. But here's the thing. Should we be expecting our young people to respond like this? Like, I just feel like the mother should have calmed her down earlier. Because something bad can happen. We really got to be honest about this. The police can be very finicky about when people are yelling at them. Now, granted, to me, this little girl is not a threat. But if the right one says it, then we're having candlelight vigils.
How old do you think this girl is?
She can't be no more than 7 years old.
I feel like we
Maybe
shouldn't
10.
expect a
Somewhere
7-year-old
between
to
7
be
and 10.
like emotionally mature enough to see their parent get arrested for something they didn't do. And you could tell that her emotion was like her being sad versus angry. Now, if she launched at the cop, that's a whole nother story. But she didn't.
I mean, she did say she was going to punch people in the face.
See, she said that, but she didn't say, "Oh, I'm about to punch you right now." Like, that's two different things.
So
she might only know how to react with her emotions with violence or something.
Let me just make sure that I'm clear here. Okay. So if I'm in a space and there's people, and I say I'm gonna punch somebody in the face, that doesn't identify any specific person, but it's technically a threat to everybody in the area. So even if I don't lunge at them, as the black man, this is just how it works for us. If I say I'm going to do something, that's enough for me to go to jail. I don't even have to attempt it or none of it. Just I'm going to do this and then I'm going to jail. It's that simple because it's what's known as a credible threat. Because they look at me and they're like, yeah, he could do that thing he said he was going to do. But this little girl, it's like, even if she did punch somebody in the face, it wouldn't even be that serious. So I just feel bad because I don't know what they do with kids in a situation like this. I mean, a kid just leave her on the street. So
they take her into custody.
So she's going to have to go down somewhere. And
CPS. They'll call CPS.
And hope for this dad that you've already blamed for the problem.
Yeah.
Come down there.
Because he probably already got locked up. That's why she crashing out.
Why you got to say so much negative on the dad?
I mean, something had to happen because kids just don't normally just freak out like that. Like, that was a little excessive. Like, telling you going to punch somebody, crying is one thing. Breaking down is another thing. But, like, telling you going to punch everybody in the room and all this and I'm going to kill somebody, like, she had to see that somewhere.
And it had to be the dad?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Well, I mean, the mom didn't threaten to kill nobody.
So we're gonna cancel out other people in the home. We're gonna cancel out the
We don't know what's going on in that home.
Peers, school, and we're going straight for Pop.
And it could be the school. It definitely could be the school. She's probably the bully of the class. We don't know the situation.
We know this whole crash out ideology, this whole crash out mindset is popular amongst the youth. So, you know, it's almost like I said, like when you see people in New York, you see these New York kids talking, and they all say the same thing, dead ass and oh my dad. And it's
my soul.
Right. Yeah. So now you see what I'm saying? They all sound exactly the same. So it becomes like a script that they learn. You know what I mean? And that they can fluently just come off the top with it for any given situation. So I wouldn't say a father would teach his daughter to behave that way. She could just get that just from her peers, social media, any way of just learning how to be a crash out at every moment, right? Because that's like a false sense of empowerment. You know what I mean? Like to act out like that, it generally may, ward off certain people who, you know what I mean, who don't really want to hurt you. But I would definitely say that I don't think her father would be the source of that behavior.
This is the funny part for me, right? Because Jen's dad, who I know very well, didn't raise his daughter like that.
Yeah.
So the flip side of that is because Jen's dad didn't raise his daughter like that, to her, the reason why this happened is because the father didn't do what he was supposed to do.
I got what
you see what I'm saying? I get it now. I get it now. So it's not automatically
a
father
crash out.
thing. It's not a
so in my head,
guy
I'm
thing.
like, where do you learn crash out behavior? And it's usually from a masculine presence.
No, baby.
Uh-oh.
Men generally teach stoicism, right? We're pretty a real grown man, of a certain ilk.
I'm talking about the YNs. I'm not talking about the ilks.
But see, this is the thing.
Yeah, now the YN, yeah.
That's who I'm talking about. And I'm coming from my standpoint. The mom looks somewhat young. I'm like, listen, I've seen how the men act out here with the cops. So I'm just like, listen.
If she's about 10, how young could her father be? Can we do that now?
Know.
I mean, he could be in his mid-20s.
Okay.
He could be.
And that's where my mind immediately went, because I'm like thinking like who crashes out like that with the cops, and I'm like, oh, I've seen that before in my male friends. So I'm like, well, maybe she learned it from her dad, because I'm like, the mom is calm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. In my experience, because there's certain limitations that men have in this world. Like most of us know that if we get to a certain point, somebody's going to try to harm us seriously because they look at us as a credible threat. So women do get, in my opinion, a little more leeway when it comes to fighting with the police.
We do.
Because they're like, it's a woman versus if you're walking too fast towards the damn police. They're just like, hey, I thought he was going to take my life, and I thought I grabbed my taser. I didn't, But I just think it's funny that that's not, crashing out is not masculine.
Right.
As Fats was saying. And that's why I want to touch on that, because we look at, that's toxic is what that is. Mm-hmm. Masculinity is, okay, that move right there, that one, okay.
I pray she gets some therapy, because she definitely needs some help.
She's probably going through it, man. We don't know what's going on in her
mom
house.
watches this and coaches her on it later. I just feel like the situation might have been so overwhelming. She was like, this child is just, she don't know what's going on.
I think they may be proud of her.
Yep.
To stand up for her mother and crash out over her mother.
And
she may, I think she'll
what
be
the internet's saying.
That's another side
happy.
to it too.
The internet is like, that's what you do. Go ahead, baby girl. That's your mama, But at the same time,
she's growing up in a time where people are out here really dying over stuff that they didn't do. So she might just be way too hyper emotional and just not know how to handle it.
Yeah. Well, she's definitely traumatized. She definitely has suffered from
something
trauma.
happened. That's what I'm saying. It's like something else happened. This can't be the first run-in.
Oh, not at all.
Let's blame the dad.
Unfortunately, though.
I wouldn't blame the dad, but she might have learned it somewhere around there.
Or not learned better.
I would agree that
not learn better. That's really the key right there.
I would agree that she probably needs a dad more in her life. You know what I mean? Seeing as though this is the behavior that this is her go-to. I would say she needs a father more in her life.
Good point.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Well, wow. I don't even know how to transition away from this into the next phase here without going into relationship talk, which is weird and mildly uncomfortable, just being honest. But but I guess
you will be okay.
I'm sure I will. You're a grown woman now. That doesn't mean I won't strangle someone over you. But, you know, just saying, I know you got your own life, but there's been a lot of clips, a lot of relationship talk lately, right? And because of that, everybody's been talking about child support changes, and they're talking about, like, kind of changes in the status quo of what's acceptable within the melanated community. And I didn't really get a chance to discuss this with folks, but I was just wondering, they're trying to put out a provision to say that you have to spend food stamps on just like food, not soda, junk food, but like produce, vegetables, stuff like that. And it's part of the Make America Healthy Again thing. That's actually what it's falling under as far as the umbrella. And I was just wondering how you guys feel about that as a kind of a motivator to get people to eat healthier.
I stand with that if that's really the intent for that push. You know, I doubt it.
Yeah,
but I would stand on that. You know what I mean?
Get people to eat healthy again.
Yeah, but okay, how if they're in food deserts? Most people who receive food stamps in food deserts, and that's me assuming. I don't have stats to back that up.
Right.
But primarily, from our experiences, most who receive are in a little more economically challenged areas, right?
Right.
Right. So, and then we find out that in those areas, most people are shopping at corner stores for their groceries. You know what I mean?
A lot of fresh stuff in the corner store.
Nah. So, you know what I mean? You're forcing them to just buy more trash, really. All food is trash. I know that ain't the subject, but
I mean, that's kind of what that is.
Yeah,
because that's how I feel.
is
I feel the
trash.
same. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So, you know, but I think it's just more policing, more, you know, just tightening their grip on recipients. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all. And then your store owners, you know, they flim-flam with the food stamps and all. So it just tightening their grip. That's all. It's just more tightening, in my opinion. I don't think they're really genuinely concerned about Americans. Maybe RFK sort of, you know what I mean? Maybe RFK gives a damn. But for most of them, they don't. Anyone in that position not really caring about. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, since you mentioned that the health situation, I did want to touch on that a little, because there's been a lot going on where they're trying to outlaw certain things, and most of it would affect, like you were saying, it would affect the people in those lower income areas.
Right.
And basically make them pay more for more organic options and healthier options. And if it's supposed to help in a health way, but also hurt in a financial way, is that worth the balance being shifted like that?
Yeah.
We'll take a chance on it. We're gonna take a chance on it. Lower diabetes, higher monthly food cost.
Well, I'll put it like this. I'd rather pay upfront costs, meaning I'd rather pay up front for the food than pay at the pharmacy, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Ooh,
you know what I
that's
mean?
good.
Yeah, I'd rather pay for the food than pay at the pharmacy. You know what I mean? It's worth it to me to be proactive and take my health in my own hands instead of being reckless. And then now, you know what I mean? Someone has to prescribe something for me. You know what I mean? And then you know that comes with the lifetime subscription.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha. Can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just wondering because it came down the timeline. You know,
do you buy organic?
I can't. I mean, I do.
Why do you believe you can't?
Because
not to pry, but
No, it's pretty simple. This shit's too expensive to buy everything in the yes. Like if I got the beef.
Do you agree
No.
that it's expensive?
I have a very specific way that I look at it because I'm a part of a few nutrition programs. So I do say I have the benefit of the fact that I am a new mom. So I do get to benefit from the nutrition program, although I don't have food stamps. And the reason I don't have food stamps is because I knew how much I love to eat and I knew how much I would probably be reckless with them stamps. So I know myself very well.
Yeah, you are
and
black.
I love a good sweet, you know? So what I figured out is how can I get that craving in other ways? I'm trying to negate the fact that I could be susceptible to diabetes because of my body mass, like everything like that. So I really just try to watch it. And I understand that these are things that take people's lives, especially in our community. So I feel like I just come from it from a different perspective of like, okay, well, how can I teach my kids that like we do have all of these things around us and eventually I want to grow my own food. That's really what I want to do. So I've been learning things about like seeds, holistic wellness. Like I'm in a whole little space I've been taking the sea mosses and I've been taking this and that and all this stuff to try to figure out, okay, how can I reset my immunity? Like how can I just like not be sick ever and do it in the most natural way possible? But one thing I wanted to point out is that I feel like this entire conversation is because the trade and agriculture businesses that used to boom the economy are now suffering because we have all these digital things. We have all these subscription boxes that people order to their door. Less people are going to the farmers market. I went to the market the other day. It was basically empty. So DC started a program. I don't know if you guys heard about this part, but they're giving people literally like $50 a month just to go to the farmers market specifically.
Oh, I can use
so they
that.
signed up. I signed up. I got selected. I'm excited. So, but there was like 10,000 people who signed up. And so they only chose like a few of those people just to start it. And then they're going to try to continue it. So I think it's because the small businesses are actually the largest contributing factor to our economy. So they need those people to thrive.
Yeah. And the small businesses aren't drop shipping like Amazon and Walmart and all that kind of stuff. I see what you're saying. I never thought about it like that, but I could use $50, so maybe I should apply.
I wish I could use it on something else, but no.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the food stamp thing for years, like making food stamps and child support and like tightening up the reins on exactly what people are able to spend the money on. But that's never actually been successful because there's too much gray area, and I'm sure it would cause a lot of inconvenience before they figure out exactly what they need to put in place. So I don't really think there'll be that kind of thing. It's just talk to me. I just don't.
I think in general, it's just like a disservice to the children to decide what it is that we need because it really does depend like per household. So it's kind of just terrible the way the system is set up. And I do feel bad because in a way, I feel like America is just no longer set up for families in general, no matter what size.
Wow. That's a bold statement, but I do agree.
But I agree, and there is a systematic breakdown of the whole family structure. You know what I mean, and that's on purpose because that is the core. The family is the core. Then there's village. So if there's a continued breakdown of the family structure, then you never get that village. Then you never get that what we need in terms of a movement to stand a little strong against tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the family breakdown is definitely a direct attack, and it's deliberate. You know what I mean? In every way. That's unfortunate that we're subjected to that, but at this point, it's our fault.
Yeah. I had an Uber driver tell me that yesterday because I was just explaining to him my life a little bit. And he was like, that's a problem y'all have in America. Like he's from like Pakistan or something. And like, I was like, you know what? You have a point. Like we
can't argue that.
Because you go to other countries and like they don't have the same problem.
They still have values. They still value their elders. You know what I mean? And children see mom valuing dad. You know what I mean? And so there you get your ideology. There you get your mindset of how important dad is, how important mom is, and then then you're taught to respect your siblings. So that's why they thrive a little better than us. We're definitely on a downward spiral because of that, because we're just so divided.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With all these different false sense of empowerment from the woman, the children. It's like the woman and the child has been weaponized against the man, the father now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow, bars.
That's absolute bars right there. Well, as we get into our next segment, because that's kind of where we were going with that piece before we get to our politics part at the end, but I did want to give a couple of shouts to the folks who just stopped in the chat. I see Purple Groovy and Lost Owl was in there. A guy named Anthony Tony Francis jumped in there for a little bit. We got a couple of new subscribers as well. So if you're a new subscriber, go ahead and jump in the chat there and let us know where you're coming in from so I can give you a shout as well. But moving on. Before I move on, just to make sure that people know, please send super chats. Those are nice at times, but if you really want to support the channel, utilize the Cash App, which is the Freeman Services Cash App company, our sponsor of the show. So that's it's at the top of the screen somewhere. You can probably see it. I don't know. Actually, it's covered up right now from what I can see. But nonetheless, you'll see it in the description. So I want to bring you to the next clip here. It's about deadbeat baby daddies. So I guess we were on that road, and I didn't know if I was going to get here, but y'all allowed me to get here. So here we are. So let me bring up deadbeat baby daddies, and we're going to listen to this lady for what she's talking about. She's going viral right now, this lady. So we're going to see as a point her monologue. Bang. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see the nice young lady here who is...
Yeah, that's Dorsey Love. That's Love Dorsey.
Yeah. She's been killing the internet recently.
Yeah.
With her videos. And so, of course, somebody pushed it in my direction, said, how do you feel about what this lady's talking about? And so I brought it to y'all, okay? So for everybody in the chat, this is Love Dorsey. This is from her Facebook page. I think she has some others, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, but this is all Facebook.
Let me say this. It's a strong 70% of y'all that lie about having a deadbeat baby daddy. Me saying that just by itself is a trigger for a lot of y'all because you know that what I'm saying includes. Now let me break down the 70%, right? Okay. Before y'all start arguing, get mad, type them paragraphs because you triggered under this video, right? So there's a good majority of y'all in that 70% that you're a single mom because you chose to be, not because a nigga is a deadbeat. You were in a situation where the nigga showed you all signs that he's not anything reflective in whatever season that was in his life of being a family man or being a man that actually is going to put other lives before his life based on creating life with you. You felt like you could change a man, so you made the choice, my body, my choice, to have the child, knowing if we had grown folk talk, it was going to be you taking care of the child. You're not a victim, and ma'am, you don't have a dick. In that 70%, there's a good majority of y'all that you got told by the nigga before you had the baby that he does not want to have a baby. He told you to get an abortion. He told you to take a plan B. He told you he don't want to have it. He told you up front he does not want to be a father for whatever reason. We ain't arguing about the reasons right now. We're just talking about those of y'all in this 70% that you got told, we don't need this, we don't need a baby, you don't need a baby, I don't want a baby, whatever the fuck you knew. And you made the decision because it's your body, your choice to have the baby anyway. So like the other people I mentioned, you knew what you were taking on. You don't have a deadbeat. You made a choice. And of course you would like for things to be different, but you don't have a deadbeat. You made a decision and you need to stand on that. There's a portion of you women in the 70% that you practice parental alienation. You probably don't know what that is, so you should go look it up. And it is a crime. Most niggas don't know that, and they don't know how to take you to court and actually, exercise their rights against that. A lot of you women that practice this, you don't understand that everything does not have to go your way. He doesn't have to parent the way that you want him to parent. He's not obligated to be what kind of father you want him to be. And then, of course, every time that he doesn't do something when you say do it or how you wanted to do it, or you don't get it the way that you would want it, you parent based on, or you co-parent based on your ego, your feelings, your emotions, and that's not what this shit is for. There's another part of this 70% that y'all lying on a nigga about the baby belonging to them. So you keep a certain attitude with him all the time. No matter what he does, it'll never be good enough because, of course, you're trying to actually make yourself not look like the bad guy that you really are. You want to be the victim and not the villain, but in all reality, you're the puppet master over this fucking game or puppet show where you're pretending as though a child belongs to somebody because, of course, you had no discipline with your sex, right, when the baby was conceived. And y'all don't like to talk about this. Y'all hate me when I say it. I've been talking about it for years, but it needs to be said, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why is because
I gotta pause that. She is cooking a little too hot, and let me just say as a disclaimer, the opinions of the clips are not necessarily the opinions of the channel, so please don't come and try to attack me for playing the clip, whether I agree with her or not, okay? But I'm just saying, she is really digging into a couple of different lanes here that are worth conversation. So I just want to make sure y'all know I don't necessarily agree with everything the woman's saying. I'm just playing the clip, okay? In case anybody's going to get in the chat going crazy.
Single parent shit is fucking up our culture. And at some point, y'all family members around y'all that sit up and watch y'all do this fuck shit and claim somebody's a deadbeat when they're really not are a part of the problem. Children need men and women in their lives. They need a father and a mother. Grown women, mature women, parents that don't parent off of ego and emotion and feelings and the internet and what shit looks like, they already understand this, right? I'm just saying this for those of y'all that think we all dumb and we gonna go along with whatever y'all tell us. We know that bitches get mad after they get pregnant from a nigga and the relationship does not work out. These niggas be lying. These niggas be cheating. These niggas do not be doing right in these relationships when you try to be monogamous. We know that, right? That's a different subject. But when you choose as a female to birth a child, because the choice lies with you. Whatever comes from that actually matches the character and the ways of the man before you actually brought the baby in the world, that is your choice. That is something you signed up for. And then when you get upset because you can't change things into what you want it to look like, when the child gets older and you realize this shit is difficult, it's tough, it can be unfair, it can make you feel some type of way, you don't know how to grow the fuck up, you then want to say that someone is doing something to you, but you did it to your motherfucking self. The sooner we start being real about this shit instead of running around trying to be a victim all the time and click up and make it look like something is being done to us, the quicker these children will get on track with being a better generation and breaking generational curses, unlike what we did. So busy being mad at a nigga, we will sit there and watch our children suffer while we get our ego and our emotions satisfied, while we tell a storyline on the internet to make ourselves feel better about whatever fucking is bothering us when it comes down to parenting. The sooner we get back to the real business at hand, the real assignment, which is making sure your child doesn't become a fucking statistic, making sure your child is well prepared for the world, making sure your child has management of emotion skills, conflict resolution skills, a plethora of resources within the family to be able to be a productive member of society, the sooner we can grow. The sooner we start understanding that child support payments are not more valuable than an actual physical man being a resource to your child in whatever way that he can be to the child, not what you feel like he should be, the sooner we'll get to actually breaking generational curses. The sooner we realize that systemic racism and a lot of shit that went on in our history is the reason why we think like this and are programmed like this, we can get down to the real business. The sooner we get off these motherfucking apps capping, trying to look a certain way and get down to business and start really parenting, is the sooner we'll see improvement within the character of these new generations.
Yo, okay. Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to give a special shout. I saw Lisa Rose just subscribed. Lisa Rose, old friend, musician, beautiful singer. Good to see you still around. I'm glad that you just subscribed. I'm hoping that you come back for other shows. Not just because Fats the Chairman is on the show tonight.
See, we go high, you go low.
Right. So back to the clip, though. Here's the first thing I want to say is this woman seems like she's been through something early and like reformed her life in understanding, and now she wants to preach good information out there. I can't say that she's wrong about what she's saying. She might be a little abrasive to some. but I think she's making some really good points. And I want to know how you guys feel about the points that she's trying to make.
Ladies first.
I think that there is a natural bitterness that comes with not having a relationship go the right way, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a boyfriend, whether it be just in general. And so there is a whole section of time that women go through after they have their baby where they might be depressed, they might be suicidal, there's a lot of different things that women just go through in general. And so if we just try to put that in a nutshell, it actually takes 2 to 3 years for the woman's brain to redevelop after having a child because you actually lose part of your brain. That's why they say, oh, you have mom brain, you're forgetting everything. So you're giving like part of your DNA to another person. So I feel like we're in such a vulnerable state. And then we have to make real big girl decisions. And what happens is people go online because maybe they don't have a village to go to. And like earlier, Fast was talking about how important it is to have a village, but that also goes with raising your children. So if we're solely depending on child support or we're solely depending on the government or whatever to feed our every need, we're never going to go anywhere. So I do agree with the fact that she was saying it's more valuable to have a man in the present and have his time, which is what the woman would want anyway. But you have to be okay with the fact that it's not your time, it's the child's time.
You better watch it. Better watch. You already know because you've watched your dad
several times,
who's gone through some things in and out of the family court. It has been victorious in many ways. But you've had to watch that process. And I'm sure that looking back, you realize that some things were just anger. It wasn't even, it wasn't rational at the time. And, you were a kid, but a lot of that stuff was just relationship anger that trails into the children somehow. And the lady said it in the beginning, parental alienation is against the law. It's just very, very hard in a lot of states to get the court to actually hold someone accountable for it. They'll recognize it. They'll identify it and speak on it, but they won't offer some type of a recourse or what should I call it? Some type of relief. They don't offer relief for it, but they'll say, yes, this child was alienated from their parent, and they'll tell the other parent, hey, you shouldn't do that. But they don't lock people up for it.
The court is so sick of us. And I say us as in like single parents in general. Like they're over it. Like every time I see somebody in court, and I've been to court for so many other people besides myself, it's ridiculous.
That is true.
To the point where I've seen all these cases and like every time they're like, all right, so are you guys just going to work it out or what? Because like you said, it's the relationship drama that then drags on into the court, has nothing to do with the kids or their interests. And then next thing you know, we're in a big mess. So they're trying to figure out why we can't figure it out for ourselves.
And that's the only reason why you get court orders is because the parents just can't agree. Now, sometimes the agreements are crazy. It's like, I want everything, you get nothing, that kind of thing. Well, of course, no parent's going to agree to never see their kid and all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of times where the drama starts is one parent or the other feels entitled to control the entire situation. And that's when it starts the back and forth. It's actually sad, though, because this woman is spitting, but she gets a lot of hate online for the information that she's talking.
So what's the hate that she's getting? Like, what are people saying?
Well, most times it's women saying, well, you don't know these niggas out here. And they, basically the whole...
This is my first time seeing her.
Yeah, guys are trash. That whole thing that's been going on. Guys are trash and they better, pay this and pay that.
Who's going to tell the men?
Right. Well, that's what we're here for. I'm all for men and fathers taking care of their kids. You know that. So I'm not about necessarily throwing in the white flag because you have mad ex. And it does take some time. I'll be honest with you. Most guys can't fight them battles for 8 to 10 years, back and forth, in and out of court. A lot of guys will just be like, you know what? I'll wait till the kid's 18, and they just move on with it. But if the other parent, if your co-parent relationship is working, even then, without the parents being together, the child normally has a very high chance of success.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that you need both parents, even if those two parents are not in the same house. And that whole control thing causes a beef. And then when the guy says, all right, I don't want to deal with the crap that comes along with this person, then it's like they don't love their kid. But really, maybe it's they don't want to have to, maybe they love their kid enough to be like, I don't want to do something crazy to your mama. So I'm going to back off of this because she's going to drive me crazy, and that's your mother, and I love you too much to allow that to happen. So sometimes that's why people back off, because it's like, yeah, this could happen and take things to a whole nother level, and now this kid's, you know, got two parents that's in jail and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I really do appreciate this woman for stepping out there and saying all that, because I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, especially the stuff about choosing the person who was the father of the child. You chose that. Like she kept saying that. You chose that.
Well, because if we want to say my body, my choice, it goes both ways.
You know what? Your dad raised you really well. Like, you know, your whole demeanor, you should tell him sometime, like maybe Father's Day, how much you appreciate. Yeah, Father's
Of course
Day.
I will.
Okay.
I think also I wanted to add that I think people are upset with her aggression because they want to hear the healing person that's like, here's how to heal the trauma.
Oh, you talking about those soothing voices you were talking about earlier?
Exactly.
Oh,
the
yeah,
soothing voices.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear this with the nails and the all that. They listen. They're like, you don't know my struggle. Like she said, the victims, the 70%. And that's just because our brains, because I've been on both sides of it mentally. Our brains are just not even all the way there to understand. Like you said, she probably went through something. She'd seen some things. And that's why she's even having this conversation. So you got to be ready for that conversation, because it's not an easy one to hear and it's not an easy pill to swallow. But I think the one thing that about co-parenting is both people have to be healed in order to co-parent, because a healed person is not going to want to do something bad to the other person. So that wouldn't even be a part of the conversation at that point.
Right.
If you're not fully healed, then you can't deal with that person. Or if you know that that person's not fully healed, then no, you're not going to put yourself in harm's way. That's where it becomes the problem.
Spitting them facts.
So what I say is real quick. First of all, ladies, grab your plate and eat some of that food she's cooking. It'll help you grow. You know, check out. Name's Love Dorsey. Check her out. She can really help you grow if you really are not running from accountability. That's where the hate comes from, because once you hear her speak, you know it's truth. Now you're accountable for your actions because you've heard it. If you never heard it before, now you hear it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So don't run from it, run to it. It'll help you grow, ladies. Grab your plate, eat up. You know what I'm saying? Secondly, like she said in the beginning, it's about choices. A lot of relationships are superficial because a lot of them start just merely based on sex and sexual attraction, and not really true like love and built from friendship. You know, the shit that's from the old days. Excuse my language.
That's fine. You're allowed to curse here. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bang bang.
And now he's gonna be cutting up.
But you know what I'm saying? So everything she's saying is spot on. And you know what I mean? And it's to help women. It helps men as well. If you listen and you can receive it, but most can't, like I said, because they don't want to have any accountability for their actions. They want to be victims. They want to act like someone plotted on them, you know, victimized them. When all along you was consensual, you knew what you was getting into. A lot of times guys are honest and say, that's not what I want. And they'll push the issue. Like you're saying, your body, your choice. If he doesn't want to have the kid, that's something you really need to consider. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he's going to change his mind after you have the child.
Right.
And she also spoke on it not being that particular guy's child. You see what I'm saying? So It's a lot of different variables, but it comes down to, it's not an attack on women, but it comes down to the woman basically having accountability and being honest. You know what I'm saying? You have to have honest conversations, you know what I mean? And be ready to accept truth. But nowadays, the truth feels like an attack. You know what I mean? And people shut down or they're triggered because they don't want to face the truth. You know what I mean? So it just adds to more degradation of the family structure, like I'm saying. You know what I mean? Everybody needs therapy.
Everybody. Everybody. So okay, well
they can call me.
So we're gonna come out of our relationship conversation. We're getting ready to round our last corner here, and we're gonna take a quick trip to White House. Okay, so bear with me here. Let me get.
Come on down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So, all right, guys. This next thing, it's kind of been this weird back and forth with Trump. Okay, and I'm gonna get a little deeper into it in a second here. Pause. But there's been a lot of back and forth. Some people think he's doing a great job. Some people doing a horrible job. Some people are kind of in the middle. They like some things. They don't like other things. But they were talking about this tariff thing, and they came up with this like nickname for Trump called Taco. And it was about Trump always chickens out. Have you guys heard about this?
I have not heard about Taco.
Okay, well it's trending virally now. They're doing AI videos of chickens dancing with Trump faces. It's a lot if you look it up. But I wanted to get this one particular clip here. Bear with me, folks. I gotta close this up. Try this out. Man, I really enjoyed what that Love Dorsey lady talked about. Good. At least that I know that there's some people out there talking. All right, let's share this out. Let's see what we got. So,
President, Wall Street analysts have coined.
Oh gosh, it's from X. You gotta watch X. Sometimes the stuff that comes from X be a little
biased.
Little, well, not just biased, but it's like too much for YouTube. YouTube's real picky about ad suitability and all this kind of stuff. And so they don't really like stuff from X. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I'll bring it over. Give me a second. Who we got? Oh, I got the wrong. All right, so you guys see this little Trumpy thing going here?
Yeah.
Yes, we see.
All right, so apparently he took some questions from reporters, and somebody asked him about this Taco Trump thing. That's what the clip says. I haven't seen it all. I just heard what it's about. We're gonna run it over. All right.
Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because,
some other number. I don't know.
I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying.
All right, I'm going to say this. I'm tired of hearing about Biden, by the way. Like, I know that's the thing that they do. Every president talks about the president before them whenever they have a problem. But I am so tired of hearing about whatever Joe Biden did. Like, whatever y'all doing now is what y'all doing now. Whatever they let Joe Biden do, they shouldn't have let him do. But if you're not going to lock nobody up and do all that, I don't want to hear about it no more. But anyway, we'll let him finish. So this is his rebuttal to being called a chicken. They called him a chicken. And this is like, what, Marty McFly in freaking Back to the Future. You don't call him chicken.
And that's Biff. You know, Trump is like Biff.
Yeah, he's Biff. Yep.
The hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me, He said, "You got the hottest we have the hottest country in the world right now."
We're hot.
6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead.
Was
we
it?
had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number. And if you go down, you know, if I set a number at a ridiculous high number and I go down a little bit, you know, a little bit, they want me to hold that number, 145% tariff. Even I said, man, that really got up. You know how it got? Because of fentanyl and many other things, and you added it up.
Keywords, fentanyl.
I said, where are we now? We're at 145%. I said, whoa, that's high. That's high. They were doing no business whatsoever, and they were having a lot of problems. We were very nice to China. I don't know if they're going to be nice to us, but we were very nice to China. And in many ways, I think we really helped China tremendously because, you know, they were having great difficulty because we were basically going cold turkey with China. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high. But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go.
Okay, so apparently Trump doesn't feel like he chickened out on tariffs. Now, if you guys been following the tariff,
I mean, I'm not all
here.
the way involved, but I know it took me a lot just to order some European activewear that I wanted to get, and I couldn't get what I wanted because of the tariffs.
Okay. Well, just in case you didn't know, those tariffs were rolled out on April 2nd. I want to say it was Liberation Day. Don't remember it. And within 24 hours, they were paused. Then a month later, that pause was extended until the end of August. So there are no tariffs at this time, which is why we're having our conversation tonight about the Wolves of Wall Street, is because it's just market manipulation at this point with price gouging going on against the American people. Yeah. And I want to make sure that everybody's aware of it because, Jen, you just proved the point that you're dealing with stuff that doesn't even need to be a problem.
Right.
So is Trump the problem? Or is it the companies that are trying to take advantage of us now? Are they the problem?
They're all the problem.
All the there we
They
go.
all working together.
Here we go. Here we go. So if you haven't noticed, the stock market is a whole volatile thing that's been going up and down for the last month or two. Every time Trump mentions the word tariff, something goes up, something goes down. A bunch of millions of dollars get moved around that we don't touch. And we have absolutely no say-so in this. I don't know how much you buy of any product, but I don't believe that my purchases really affect the stock like the stock market is affected. So what is it really affecting the stock market? It's these guys, like you said.
They're the market makers. They're driving it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he himself, he's a manipulator just by announcing certain things. It sends the market in certain directions.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where I'm starting to have, I don't want to say a problem with what's going on, but it's got the eyebrow. I got my eyebrow up, and I just don't trust nothing that's happening right now with this because of what I've seen with the pricing. And why is everybody telling me about pricing when nothing happened yet?
Well, if you're greedy, you can't wait for times like this where you can gouge. You know what I mean? So that's where that comes from. A lot of your small businessmen take advantage of this opportunity. Walmart even tried some bullshit and said, because of the tariffs, now we eventually going to have to raise prices.
Yeah.
And then you see Trump came out and said, hold up, you bitches lying. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And then they dialed that shit back, but they tried it though.
Well,
You know what I
actually,
mean?
they're trying it again. Walmart is
but
one
who doesn't want to get more if they can get more? You know what I mean? And they're stockpiling wealth for what is coming down the pipe. You see what I'm saying? So they've been stockpiling wealth since 2020. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like when Trump gave all those corporate, you know what I'm saying? Like he gave them those corporate tax breaks
Yeah.
during COVID, and they stockpiled all that money where it was supposed to be the trickle-down theory, where I'm going to give the corporation a tax break, and in turn they'll have more money to give raises and bonuses and shit. But the small guy never got it. They just kept it. You see, CEOs just kept that money. They just stockpiled that money. So that's what it is. It's about putting more in the pockets of the corporations. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. They're all looking out for each other.
And that's what is kind of bothering me the most about it, because you mentioned Walmart. In addition to Walmart, Microsoft, Ford, which is, of course, a domestic car company, and a number of other companies, including one, Nike, have rolled out increases on prices due to these tariffs that don't exist yet. And so with Nike, there has been an organized boycott of Nike for 90 days. Starts tomorrow, by the way. You haven't heard about it. And it's really because we already have agreed to pay too much for what we know they only spend $3 to $5 to make. We have already been supporting their slave labor of young Cambodian and Chinese kids for the last 25 years. And it is mostly black athletes who promote Nike products. I mean, football, basketball, those are the main ones. And then you got baseball, you've got soccer. Nike is all over minorities' backs and feet. So considering the fact that people are, spending their whole paycheck because they don't make a lot, because they want to have the newest Nike gear, I don't believe that Nike is being fair. And so I get it. We're boycotting Nike for it. Now, a lot of people Nike did what they just did. They just had some sales within the last week. Clearance racks. They were trying to make as much as they could. And then on the back of it, they're saying, we're doing this now because we're getting ready to raise prices. So they just had a windfall by doing that and getting everybody to come out and buy all this stuff. So as a response to it, 90 days, no Nike. So that's a no Nike 90. Have not
That's
heard about
bullshit. That. 90. How can you put a time limit on it? If I own Nike, then okay, I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna stockpile. I'm gonna have enough to hold over until this so-called resistance or boycott blows over. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If you want real results, then you can't put a time limit on it.
That's a good point. I definitely feel what you were saying on that, because the time limit for some is what makes it feasible. A lot of black people don't feel like they can go without buying a pair of ones at least once a year.
But that's like the real problem.
It's not Nike's fault.
That's not Nike's fault. That's not Nike's fault. That's what I'm saying. So if you just say, hey, let's just boycott Nike forever, a lot of people would be like, oh, hell no. Because I got a boat party I got to go to, and I need a fresh pair of Uptowns for the boat party.
That's sad. And
it is very sad.
Problem.
Yeah,
because we make the
problem. So we're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna see how it goes. It came across X. It's been the whole no Nike 90 has been spreading. Maybe it goes longer than 90 days. But it's like this. The real issue with Nike right now is, I'm going to throw it out there. They're refusing to build a factory in the U.S. They know they can avoid tariffs by just building something here. It's an American company, but they have no manufacturing in the U.S. at all.
Most companies don't.
A lot of companies don't. That's the whole America First thing. So like I said, some people don't like Donald Trump, but I understand, hey, if we're the biggest consumers of these products, like Nike, U.S. makes up 50% of their entire global revenue. But we can't have people that live here work in a factory that makes Nikes? It just seems, I see what they're saying. That seems a little wrong. But we're going to support Nike and other companies. I'm just mentioning Nike because we're talking about them. But we're going to support them using cheap labor in other countries while we overpay for the products, and then they refuse to even build a factory here. So I don't think they deserve our business. Honestly, that's just me personally. They've been on this trek for a while now, and they use our superstars to make us purchase these things as if the shoes are going to make us jump like Jordan.
They
or
always in a
else.
scandal.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like, they're always on the back end of some money laundering. Like, honestly, if you really start looking into Nike, they're not a really good company as far as some of the stuff that they're doing. And when I say not good, I mean like they do some nefarious stuff in money laundering and how they move things around the world. So I'm with it. I'm with the boycott. I can do 90 days without Nike. Now, I'm not saying burn your Nike stuff because I do like my clothing. You know, I'm not with burning up clothes and chopping up shoes.
Why not boycott everything?
Because people need goods.
It's not possible. They tried to do that for one day, remember? And then nobody could do that.
A day without a dollar. I remember that.
I'm so serious. Remember that? Everybody was like, "Oh, you can't go here, unless it's a black-owned business." We couldn't even find a black-owned business to buy like a convenience store. Nothing. No gas stations. Black-owned.
Yeah, it's true.
What was we supposed to do?
You're right. It needed gas, man. There's no black-owned gas stations. That's a good point.
You stay your ass home, and you don't do anything. You do that in a blizzard. When it's a blizzard day,
what do you do before a blizzard? You go to the store and stockpile. That's the problem.
Or you end up having to walk through a foot of snow to go to the CVS.
We don't have survival tactics in America.
Yeah.
We just everything instant. Amazon, GoPuff. You just get that joint straight to your door. Boom. That's the problem.
Hold on,
y'all don't have GoPuff. That's right.
What is GoPuff?
GoPuff is a city thing. They got it in like New York and
it sounds like marijuana.
No.
Really?
No. They got like little warehouses like Amazon. And they got all types. It's like a convenience store.
What's the
But it's a warehouse.
GoPuff.
And they ship them to your house.
I don't know about this GoPuff situation.
I like it personally. I'm subscribed to GoPuff.
So what's the difference between GoPuff and Amazon?
Because it's more instant. Like it's like 10 minutes.
Were they standing outside? Like I know she get ready to order this.
When I tell you, it's a GoPuff factory like on every block in DC. Like it's like, look this joint up, yo. It's called GoPuff.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know where they came up with that name, but I don't know what they were going for in that one. What's the metaphor? What's the puff?
We don't know. Okay. We just order and I don't know. It's been around for like maybe
this
like
is a black thing.
Years.
We just be ordering stuff. We don't know what we supporting.
I heard 10 minutes. I said, oh, we lit. You can get drinks, food.
See, this is the
problem. Anything. You can get cigarettes. You can get liquor. Whatever
so the puff
you want.
is for purchasing unlimited for fools.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they put in the business paperwork. I think it sounds like a statement of what they want people to do. Go puff. Go do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's where I get a little confused here because have you said something amazing, which is just boycott everything. But when you think about that in like actual terms, it's almost impossible.
It is not.
Well,
it's not
help the viewers understand what an everything boycott really looks like to a person that has to travel to work every day and buy lunch and stuff like that. Like, how does that work for the everyday person?
Let's first look at what are we hoping to achieve by it? What is it that we want primarily? When we feel like we want to boycott something or someone is treating us unfairly or unjustly, what is the goal? What is the primary goal for boycotting anything?
It's to affect change, and normally it's to show buying power. What that works with. So it's really to crash the damn stock. But you know what happens? If a real boycott happens, you know what it causes? Inflation.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of what you want done.
We're experiencing that anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we know that it's all bullshit. We know that it's all inflated anyway, right?
Right.
So to withdraw from it, period, you'll get a serious result out of it if you withdraw, period. Once those gears stop turning, you get their attention. But
do you think they really care about our little change and they got all them investors and all them celebrities signed to them?
Well, over time, that's what I'm saying. That's why you can't put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
Over time, it makes a grave impact on business. You see what I'm saying? As a business owner, if they're not making a certain amount of money per hour, or you see what I'm saying, they're already hurting. They base progress and their success on how much they make per hour, how much is coming into that business per hour. And if they don't make that quota, they feel like that's a missed hour they'll never get back. So imagine we stop spending, right? We stop spending, we stop working. We set our asses down. We set still.
Did you say stop working, though? Did I hear that? Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Okay.
If you want change, you have to have balls. You see what I'm saying? You have to have balls. You can't pussy out if you really want to. If you then you don't want change. You want to continue to be a hoe in this pimping system. It's a pimping hole situation, right? What other relationship where you go out, the person goes out, does all the work, and then someone else says, "Give me the money. Let me take out of it what I want and give you what I want you to have." That's a pimp in a hole situation.
That is true.
Wow.
That is our relationship. With being in America is like being in an abusive relationship. You see what I'm saying? To be a poor working class American is like being in an abusive relationship.
But see,
you see what I'm saying?
If the hoes stop walking the street, the pimps get upset and beat up the hoes.
Well, but you on this
revolution.
But you on this. These pimps don't even gotta be the ones. They take your tax money and pay someone else, give someone else a badge and a gun and a larger salary to you to smack you around if you get out of line. That's pimping at the highest degree. They ain't even gotta bruise their hand.
They got henchmen.
Yeah, but you pay for that though.
To protect and serve. Yeah, I pay for my ass to get.
Well, right, because we know that their job is to protect businesses, to protect property and serve businessmen, not you. You see what I'm saying?
In order for that to work, we would have to learn how to do everything, and we would have to learn how to help each other. So like earlier, Fazzy was saying about like the false empowerment that a lot of people have, we would have to completely humble ourselves like down to the core. Okay, these people are good at this, these people are good at this. How can we open one bank, one convenience store, one gas station, one this? Like we definitely have the power, but people don't know how to put themselves together to even be in that space.
I guarantee it wouldn't even last long. I'm trying to tell you, businessmen don't like missing no money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they, at hour by hour with no spending, hour by hour of no working, it'll collapse. They're gonna have to come to the table and talk. See, but we have to unify on that understanding. And it's not about taking over, it's just about fairness. You see what I'm saying? That's my belief. That's my, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not about trying to take over the system or none of that. It's just about fairness. You see what I'm saying? Because it can be achieved. Fairness can be achieved. But if you a bitch, then I'm gonna pimp you. I'm gonna hold you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hold you out. You see what I'm saying? If you let
only
me,
right. It's only right.
Consensual. Then it's consensual. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
So if we're signing up for it, you're saying we're signing up for it by being the pawns in the game and agreeing to be those pawns.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. It's all our fault at this point. Everything is all our fault at this point.
Wow.
Dang.
Jeez. Okay, well, that's a tough pill to swallow there. So here's the thing, because I 100% agree with you. And I know that we can't affect change without having some real cojones. We got to be willing to take the Nestea plunges. You know what I'm saying? Now, me, I can't see not working.
Right.
For two reasons. One, that's
you scared already.
Well, you know what? Call me scared. It's only because I have certain things that I gotta take care of. But
everybody, listen. It's still something that will happen. You being a lone soldier won't have any impact. It's too easy to replace you. And this last thing I'm gonna say, that what I'm speaking on was before now, because with the immigration and the immigrants, the insurgent of immigrants, even though they're shipping a lot out, they're still here. So what you have now is, you have spending power, but you can be easily replaced. And that's why they're bringing in AI and robotics, so that the more we try to wake up, quote unquote, wake up and even think about rebelling or anything like that, now you wouldn't dare boycott, not go to work because you'll easily be replaced. So now they got you. You don't even have that power anymore You see what I'm saying? You see how we played ourselves?
Yeah.
We once had that power that if we threatened not to work, if we went on strike and we boycotted, we could really send some ripples. You see what I'm saying? But for seeing out, we then gave up our leverage. Now we don't have no leverage. You see what I'm saying? Now you see what I'm saying? If you don't go to work, you'll be replaced. You feel what I'm saying? You don't spend no money, it's another idiot. We see it all the time. People line up and fight to get in stores and spend their money. Yep. That's why you see the highest earners in America right now are the Hindus, the Indians. They're the highest earners in this country right now. You know why? Because they get it that America is a business, it's a corporation. They don't come here to live and do the white picket fit shit. They come here to hustle. This is a block. You know what I'm saying? The colonials, they came here, they took this shit over, and they turned this into a business. You see what I'm saying? That's what you have to understand. You're worth more as a business owner than an employee. There's no respect as an employee. There's no respect as a consumer. You see what I'm saying? So you have to change your mindset and really get into the understanding of that this is a business. You live inside of a corporation. Pull up any city or any state, you'll see what year that city or state was incorporated. How do you incorporate a dwelling place? Is your house incorporated?
Oh.
It would be if you turn it into a business, right?
That is true.
Aha.
Well, I mean,
I feel like the one person that if she stopped working, everything would kind of shake would be like Beyonce or something. Because I feel like our moguls and icons, if for whatever reason they stop making them people money, then they probably just all go missing. And that's why they be going missing now. But that's a whole nother story. So I feel like we, as like Americans, we like romanticize pop culture so much. And even like us just talking about all these things on here, it would take somebody at those levels in order to stand up. Because even if me and like 100 other of my peers wanted to do that, it just, like you said, it wouldn't last.
That's what selling your soul really means. Selling your soul means to not do what you know you're supposed to do.
Talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? That means to not do what you know you're supposed to do. If that makes any sense. Meaning, I'm not supposed to sell my people poison. If I sell my people poison for money, I've sold my soul because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, which is protect my neighbor, protect my brother, protect my fellow man. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm supposed to want the same for them as I want for myself. So when we talk about our celebrities and our athletes and these people like that, that's how they sold their soul when they allow you to be poisoned. They get, you see what I'm saying? For them to eat and get a salary and make the money they make, they have to agree to let shit happen to you. Or some of them even promote it, knowing that it's, you see what I'm saying? That's selling your soul right there. You see what I'm saying? Everything doesn't require a ritual, a demonic ritual or satanic ritual. Just the fact that you agree that, okay, yeah, I'll sell them McDonald's, or I'll sell them, this alcohol, or I'll sell them this cigarette. Like, you can put my face on that shit. Even down to selling Sprite and shit like that is full of corn syrup and all kind of bullshit. You're selling your soul for a check. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it's going to be interesting because, like I said, there's a lot of people who are feeling this thing about these price changes. And in order to make that change for the better for us, basically what Fats is saying, we have to just not buy nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it sounds great.
Sit your ass down.
I would love to do this YouTube thing all day and make my money doing that, so I wouldn't have to go to, a regular job. But YouTube don't pay that much. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even with 20, 30,000 views a video, it's like less than royalties for music.
Because they making more money off of you than you making off of me.
Because they're getting ads.
Sorry, YouTube, sponsor him. Don't cancel him.
No, don't worry about that. I ain't scared of you. Y'all don't understand. I ain't scared of you.
Computer blows up.
Yeah, well, hey, for real, they have definitely come after my streams a number of times. To the point where people had to tell me, hey, they're not sending me your notifications no more. They don't want us to know you're live. So that's
you
fine.
saw what TikTok did to me. They didn't took me off the map. I said, dang, it's like that.
Yeah, they you can't not follow the narrative that they want you to be. They'll put you in a box on these socials, and they're like, if you talk about these topics, we'll let you get some reach. If you start talking about what's really important to you,
I've seen that.
Yeah, they don't
I've seen
really.
that. I've seen a YouTuber who was making like 80,000 a month until his conversation changed to more political shit, more social, you know what I mean, geopolitical shit like that, and then they throttled him down from 80,000 to like 20,000 a month.
We
Yeah, they
need
did
to
that
make
to
our
me
own
about a
streaming
month
service.
ago. So I'm making a comeback now, but they came after us about a month or so ago. I think it was the Trump episode, and I said I didn't like something, and actually no, I think it had something to do with the Transformers. If you understand what I'm talking about, I talked about that group. Then I got a whole email about protected classes, and basically you can't speak about a group that you're not part of. And I'm not a Transformer, so I can't talk about Transformers. I can talk about black people. I can talk about men, fathers, grandfathers. I can do that kind of stuff. But that's because I belong to those groups. But I'm not allowed to talk about the Transformers. At least not on this channel. I've seen other channels do it, but this channel, no, they don't like that. Strike it every time as hate speech, apparently. Yeah, if I say I don't want men in women's bathrooms, problem. Absolute problem. So, sorry about that. But nonetheless, guys, we are getting ready to close out here because we have come up on the end of our time. And I just want to remind those that do want to partake in either the Nike boycott or the full-blown don't spend nothing boycott, which I wish I would have filled up on gas earlier today, so that I'm like, oh man, that's a tough ask.
Ride a bike, man. Ride a bike.
I live in a place where it's 100 degrees every day and it rains around 3 p.m.
Get your poncho.
Figure it out, survivor. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, soldier. Figure it out. But I feel you, man. And I think if we, as a United States community, not just the black community, but people all with the same problem, which is they're struggling, if we all did come together and do something, I think it would make waves. I really do. Whatever it is, even if it's something small for a couple of months, just we got to do something at this point, because we're about to get jammed up by every company that wants to make a couple extra dollars, and they're going to blame stuff that hasn't even happened, and they're going to throw it in our face and play with our money. And I feel disrespected by it, which is why I'm all for the boycott.
And let me add one more thing. When you spoke on fentanyl, you know that, because I watch economic news, that they said that they're going after fentanyl because fentanyl is killing working Americans.
Right. And I just wanted to give a shout to Connecting the Purple Dots in the chat there, basically saying the same thing you were saying, which is just don't do it for the 90 days. It's just a temporary moment in time, and we need to be also having a discussion about the long-term idea. And one of the main things was we don't have our own internet platforms. We don't. That's a very interesting thing. All of the black creators, right? TV. We do not have I don't want to call it a black YouTube, but just something that's run by a group other than the group that runs Alphabet Corporation. You want to look them up, you can. And I can't speak on that group because that's a protected class as well. But we know who we're talking about. So maybe if we did have things that were owned by a different group, we might have different power. Then the advertisers would want to be on our forums. And, I think that's something we might have to discuss. But
we might have to discuss free speech on another one, because I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, we'll do a free speech one. I think we'll be back on next week with that. You can do it, Genesis.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do on that. But I'm gonna give my quick shout outs, and then I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. I'm gonna let all of the chat folks get out of here. But just running back through it, I know we had a couple people, and we did get a couple of new subscribers. So thank you for everybody who jumped in on the subscription. But I know a lot of that was because I got Fats on here today, and people love Fats. So.
And Fats love them more than they know.
So, but I do like what Connecting the Purple Dots did put in the chat there. About
Oh yeah,
basically,
they on fire right now.
yeah, just cooking right now. I'm trying to end the show. You want to show up super late with all these great comments? I should feel offended.
Yeah, group economics is the answer. Definitely.
But the problem is the group that we're trying to economically bring together. We
well, you galvanize the strong, and the strong control the weak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the smart control the strong.
I like that. How you said, smart control the strong control the weak. So the brains are the top level, basically.
Yeah, but you have to galvanize the strong.
Okay, well, we're gonna see where the boycott situation goes, where the tariff situation goes. But nonetheless, just a special shout to Glenda Greer for popping in the chat. And who else came up in here that new to the chat? Said connecting the purple dots. A gong. Okay, you get a gong. Lisa Rose, yeah, she stopped in. Thank you for stopping by. And everybody else, Purple Groovy, the mods, everybody who stopped in, you guys have been great today. I'm liking the numbers. Hopefully the likes match the actual views. That'll be great. But if not, I'll still be back here to purge some more BS. So I'll see you guys in a couple of days for those who are going to be back on Tuesday. But I want to give one more opportunity for my guests. Shout out any of their social media sites or URLs to give to them. So if you would.
All right, y'all. Well, y'all already heard the spiel in the beginning, but if you missed it, I'm Genesis, aka Jen Hayes on socials. You can find me on Instagram at Jen Hayes, so that's GenHayes. And you can also find me on TikTok, same thing, Jen Hayes 2, because Jen Hayes 1 got deleted. Whole nother story. Watch me on there. I'm always doing food, fashion, and fun, making motherhood look fabulous.
Okay.
Keep up.
All right, and what you got for me, Hev?
You can catch me on Instagram at Big Body INC. That's one word, BIGBODYINC. On Facebook, it's Loner World, LONRWRLD. Just check me out, man. You know what I mean? Fast the Chairman on Spotify, Apple Music. We on all the platforms. You know, Big Body Inc.
All right.
You know.
Right. Well, thank you guys for joining me on another Purge of the BS.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure.
No problem. And for anybody that's in the chat, if you want to support the show, make sure you send the Cash App in, because YouTube likes to take money on the super chats. And you can also check out the merch on freemanservices.org/shop. That's freemansvcs.org/shop. You can go ahead and check out our products there. This hat is actually available there as well if you like. But other than that, I feel good about this purge. I'm going to go ahead and get us up out of here. So with that, my friends, I'm done with the bullshit. We out. All right, guys.
Peace.